Hey there, and welcome to the Innovative Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Isolde Trachtenberg, and I am super thrilled that you are here. I want to talk to you about compassion in a slightly different way today. We are coming up on the holiday season, and this is a time of year when everybody is giving each other gifts. And everybody, let me state that a little differently. We're coming upon a time where there are 10 to 15 holidays all in the month of December, with lots of different traditions being celebrated. Many of these traditions have at their roots some sort of gift giving, some sort of putting up a tree, and some sort of gathering together over a meal. And because this is Compassion Wednesday, and you know how much I believe compassion is part of the innovative process, I want to talk to you about leaving a smaller footprint during this holiday season. One of the best ways that you can do that, if you're putting up a tree, for example, is consider getting a tree with a root ball intact and then planting the tree somewhere. Get permission first, of course, afterward. One of the things that we do is, yes, there are Christmas tree farms, and many of those farms will chop down the tree. You can take it home. You stick that tree in that little red bowl of water, that red and green stand of water, and you try to keep the tree alive until it's time to take it down. Those trees have been grown and they've been cut down before they get a chance to grow tall, and that's it, right? And then those trees are dead, and then they get put into, maybe ground up for pulp. I'm not sure what happens to Christmas trees after they're done. But what if instead we left a smaller footprint and we got a tree with a root ball intact, and at the end, and we kept it in water, and at the end of the holiday season, at a time when we're celebrating a rebirth of sorts, when the days start getting longer, what if you then took that tree and you planted it somewhere, and you gave that tree a chance at life? It was there, it held the ornaments, and it didn't just die. I feel that way about flowers, actually. Cut flowers make me cringe a little bit because they're already dying, right? Second someone snips them off the bush or plant or whatever, they're dying. And you put them in water with sugar dissolved in it, and you hope that they will live for a little while, and then they're gone. And no offense to the flower industry, I love flowers. I just always get a little sad because I know the second someone gives me a bouquet of flowers, those flowers are dying, and my job will be to try and keep them alive for a little while. So the same goes for holiday trees. If you're going to have a Christmas tree, consider getting one with a root ball. Yes, it's a little more expensive, but think of the benefit. If you have kids, you and your kids could go and plant the tree together. It's an amazing and lovely tradition to do together if you can. That's one thing. The other thing is, if you have a tree outside your house, maybe you just put lights on that tree and don't cut down a tree. That's another way of doing it. Let's talk about gift giving. One of the things that I think happens a lot is we buy and buy and buy and spend and spend and spend, and we give gifts to everybody we know. A few years ago, my husband and I decided that we were going to make fudge for everybody. That is what we do. We have little reusable containers, and we put a pound of 13 different kinds of fudge that we make, and we give that out to people. And then they can reuse the containers and they enjoy the fudge. And we haven't bought send it to me gifts or non-reusable gifts in I don't know how long. So that's a way to do it. Make your gifts instead of buying them. Consider writing a story, or like I did in the Telling You Now episode, maybe that can be your gift this year. Write a heartfelt letter about how much you care for someone, about what you admire about them. You could do that too. But let's say you decide you're going to give a gift, and then comes the wrapping of the gifts. And I'm going to encourage you to think about wrapping gifts in cloth. If you sew or know someone who sews, make some bags. I'm going to show you in the show notes. If you go to the show notes, you'll see a bunch of bags that I made for a friend of mine. And the gifts that she's giving away, she can use to the gift bags, I should say, the gift bag wraps. So I made them out of Christmas themed fabric, and they can be reused. You just take them and and I gave her bags and ribbons, for example. And I did this for a number of friends. A bunch of my friends have gotten these bags of different sizes so that they can wrap presents in the cloth bag. It doesn't have to be paper. We don't have to cut down more trees in order to wrap our gifts. You can use these bags, and the beauty is that that person who got this bag as the wrapping for their gift can then take that bag and reuse it next year to give the gift to someone else, or a gift to someone else. And that gift bag can keep being reused for years, thereby saving an incredible amount of wrapping paper and a large number of trees. Because what happens to that wrapping paper? It gets thrown out, or maybe recycled or burned or something, but it's seldom reused. Every once in a while, if you're my mother, you take it, you save it, you sort of straighten it all out, and you fold it up for use next year. But that's my mother. I don't know how many other people do that. Maybe there are. And I'm sorry if I am being unkind in any way. I just feel like this is one of those things that we can easily do to, again, leave a smaller footprint on this holiday season. So think about what you can give that will not require the mail services or Amazon or anything like that for gas being spent to get the gift to the person. Think about giving a gift that is a little bit more intangible, maybe an experience, maybe you write them that letter that tells them how you feel about them, how much you admire them. And consider wrapping whatever gift you get in some fabric. Now, you don't have to go all the way to making a bag if you don't have sewing skills. Consider going to one of the fabric stores and seeing what Christmas themed or Hanukkah themed fabric they have. Buy a couple yards, snip that into squares or whatever size you need, and then wrap them with ribbon to wrap your gifts. And then you can use it again and again and again. And that way, again, no trees are harmed in the wrapping of all these gifts. And this brings me to my last idea for leaving a smaller footprint. And that is consider eating cruelty-free this year. Consider leaving pig and turkey off your plate. Make all the fixins. Make a ton of fixins. Make spaghetti, make any number of things. There are certainly lots and lots and lots of different ways that you can do this. I am hosting, for example, this comes out the day before Thanksgiving, this episode, and tomorrow we are going to be serving 6 people an entirely vegan meal, entirely cruelty-free, with a seitan roast and all sorts of other ways. And this is an opportunity to explore different types of cuisine, different ways other people celebrate, but also to leave animals off your plate so that they don't suffer, so that there aren't as many turkeys or pigs slaughtered every year for people to sit down. It's always been weird to me to sit there with a carcass, a dead animal in the middle of the table, and imagine that animal has suffered incredibly. So there is something that we can do there, and that is to leave the animals off our plates. What a way to leave a smaller footprint. And if you want any ideas or recipes about how to be a little bit more cruelty-free, to put animals to think of animals first, get in touch with me. I'd love to hear from you. You can get in touch with me at Isolde T on Instagram or on Twitter. There's also Isolde at IsoldeT.com is my email address. The email address is all over the place. The contact form is on the website if you go to IsoldeT.com. I would be delighted to speak with you about any of the things that I've talked about and ideas. And if you want a pattern for the bag, it's just 2 rectangles that you sew 3 sides, and then you flip it over and do a hem. But I'm happy to leave detailed instructions on how to do that if you want them. I would be happy to let you know what I do, and if you see the picture and you like it, I'm happy to show you and tell you and talk to you about how to do it yourself. Alrighty. I hope that you've enjoyed today's episode. Tomorrow, you'll hear more of Speak From Within. We're doing chapter 3, which is called Expression. And I don't know if it's going to be a all one chapter episode or if it's going to be broken down like chapter 2 has been, because chapter 2 is super long. Chapter 3 is not as long, so I'm not sure what will happen, but it's possible. And then on Friday, we will be going further into what it means to be building those mindfulness skills. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Until next time, this is Isolde Trachtenberg reminding you that to innovate, you need to be bold, be creative, and most of all, be kind.